Hello everybody and welcome to the Race Department GT Championship here at Silverstone for the opening round of season number 7 of the RDGTC. We welcome you here. We've got a lot of cars heading out onto the circuit. The GTR 3s on Race Room Racing Experience. And a lot of very familiar names from our Race Room Sundays that used to occur here at Race Department, as well as some very new names as well, and one very big return to Race Department of a nickname, Mr. C. We have a wonderful driver joining us of Caramelio, Andrei Bogdan, who returns back to Race Room. So we'll be seeing how he does here. So we have got a half an hour qualifying session in front of us. We will then have a 90-minute race, an hour and a half. These cars will be heading around the British venue. It's going to be great because a lot of these drivers, they've had to learn their cars over the past couple of weeks because they were only actually I think they were only handed their car at the start of this week, I believe. So drivers, they were handed a contract to their team and they've had to learn all different cars. Obviously certain cars are going to benefit certain of different tracks, and one of the more hated choices of car so far, I've heard, is the Chevrolet Camaro, and that is in fact Bogdan who has argued against the Camaro and says he feels like he's going to be at a disadvantage at all of the circuits apart from Monza. He feels like Monza is the only track that the Chevrolet Camaro GT3 is going to be able to run. He's running in the number 88 Chevrolet Camaro in this series. Currently then, no one has put in a lap time. They are all heading around the track at the moment. So it's an open qualifying session, unlike what we've seen for most of the time in our Racing Club events. That means that they're all on the circuit exactly the same time. They're not only having to focus on their own laps, they're going to have to navigate traffic. And the best thing you can do is, the brilliant thing about Silverstone is that final chicane. You've got a couple of cars pulling off very badly on one of them on the racing line there. But what I was saying though is that this circuit, Silverstone, it has obviously the chicane right at the end of the lap, which means that if you see someone right in front of you and you're just about to go onto a hot lap, what you can do is back off, just get too far, like just back off a little bit, make sure there's no one behind you, and what you can do is create a gap so that even if you're going faster than the car in front, you won't catch up to that driver in front of you. We're currently looking at Robert Sevagangas in the number 7 Bentley Continental GT3, and that is of Bentley Motorsport, heading through the Maggots and Beckett's complex here at the Silverstone circuit. An amazing view this year in Formula 1, and it's an amazing view no matter what car goes through there. It's looking fantastic with the GT3s. So this season then, it's going to be 4 rounds over the next 2 months. We've got this opening round, of course, today, and then we are going to be heading back out on circuit on the 22nd of October for round number 2 at the Nürburgring GP circuit. And then next month, 5th of November, round number 3, that's the Monza circuit. That's the circuit where the Camaro apparently is going to be able to do a good result there. And then for the final, 19th of November, we will be seeing drivers head to Spa-Francorchamps, one of the more famous GT circuits around the world, of course. Every now and then I will go silent as I mute my microphone so I can cough, because I'm still very much ill and still very much on the verge of losing my voice following yesterday's 8-hour stint in the commentary box. So then, we've currently got lap times being placed in, and it is in fact Mr. C, it's Bogdan, on pole position at the moment in his Chevrolet Camaro GT3. He's got I'm going to say this wrong so many times today. Sevagangas in second at the moment on the timing there, as I've just been told that I'm a little bit quiet on the low side, so I've had to turn the actual or game audio down, because I am at full sound on my in my OBS. But continue to look through the field then. Bram Hengeveld doing an amazing job at the moment on 3rd position. That's the 2nd row of the grid. That's fantastic to be sitting in, with Anders Mer in 4th. No, it's Brian van Buskommen. Knocks up to get 2 Dutch drivers onto row number 2. A really good mix of nationalities racing here this weekend. We've got, wow, a lot of nationalities looking at it. French, Dutch, Swedish, Irish, Norwegian, British, American, lots of different nationalities going around. We've got Bogdan though currently on a fastest lap, overall best in 1st and 2nd sector. Will he be able to go overall best in the 3rd sector? Believe he will, and that will be an improvement. He's currently got half a second on the rest of the field as Davy van der Veen goes into what is now 3rd, because Robert Sevagangas goes faster by 2/10. That's knocked Bogdan down a 2nd. Is he going to remain there, or is he going to be able to push up? He remains in 2nd, but only by half a tenth of a second. But Davy van der Veen, yes, going on to the 2nd row of the grid now, alongside fellow staff member Bram Hengeveld. Got a few staff members racing here with us this weekend. We've got Davy van der Veen in 3rd, currently Bram Hengeveld in 4th. We also have out on circuit Steve Legale, Ross Garland and Roop Wilson. We've got 5 staff members heading it down onto the circuit for today's race. Be sure also to hit that follow button, but also we have a very new subscribe button that we have on Race Department. We have got that included into Race Department about half an hour ago. So be sure to fully utilise that, hit the subscribe button, and become a part of racedepartment.com here on Twitch. It is actually half price at the moment, I have been told, for a subscription. And if you've got Amazon Prime, of course, you can use your Prime subscription, your free Prime subscription, to head that over our way as well. As we continue around, though, in qualifying, almost 10 minutes down. If you want to have a little bit of a look at the spotter guide, see what teams and liveries drivers are racing, if you head over to the Twitter page, we recently retweeted a tweet by myself, actually, of the spotter guide. We also have that in the latest race thread as well, and that'll give you all of the drivers that are going to be racing and their racing numbers as well. Let us know in the Twitch chat who you are supporting for this race. So Matthias Nielsen has gone into 3rd position, only about 2/10 off of Sevagangas at the moment, so very close between the top 3 as it extends further down the order. We're still yet to see lap times by 4 drivers who are at the bottom of the grid. We've got 28 cars currently in the server. Heading through the final corner goes Michael Wyatt then, one of 2 American drivers in the race, and he puts it into a 16th position on the grid there as he continues through. Stephen Gibb heading up into the final chicane, and he is running in the rough, the number 48 rough in fact, and that is with Pro Speed competition. The American flags on the side of the British man's car. I don't think he's happy about that, but he moves it into 17th position. With just over 2 seconds off of Sevagangas, and about a tenth, actually, not about a tenth of a second, yeah, off of Wyatt, who's in 16th, just in front of him. As we continue heading around at the moment, Brian van Buskommen heading up in his McLaren, and that is the number 11A McLaren, and that's the McLaren 650S GT3 of Objective Racing, if you couldn't tell by the massive name on the side of that car. 7th position at the moment for Van Buskommen. Adrian Campfield moves himself up into 3rd. And after a very strong start from Van der Veen and Hengeveld, they've been knocked down to the 4th and 5th row, respectively, at the moment. As we have a follower. Thank you, Hatsushira, for following. And going to continue on around. Ronnie Bowen, currently 14th position at the moment in his BMW. And that is the number 96 BMW of Turner Motorsport. The M6 heading up along Hanger Straight now. And we have Ross Garland being supported in the chat, of course. They've got to give the fearless leader of the racing club some moral support. And yes, Ross Garland then is currently sitting in 27th position, just outside of our timing on the left-hand side. He's in 27th and about 0.029 seconds off of Alex Crossan, who's next on up the field. Hopefully we'll see an improvement by Garland by the end of the qualifying session. Still over half of the sessions to go, of course, with 30 minutes of qualifying to place in the circuit. You do need that, though. You really do need 30 minutes of qualifying when you've got cars on the circuit with you. And see, 3 cars here, all in very close proximity. We've got Campfield leading Herx, and then I believe that is the objective racing car of Van Buskommen just behind as well. So that's 3 cars, very close proximity. It's not what you want in a qualifying session. Adrian Campfield did go overall best in the first sector. Lost it out in the second sector, unfortunately. So we see a driver dive into the pit lane at the back of your screen. And now coming through the final corner goes Adrian Campfield. It doesn't look like it is going to be an improvement. It is not. And that is a shame after a strong start to the lap. The Camaro continues to run around the number 46 of Adrian Campfield. Mobile One Racing in the Chevrolet. That's not the Camaro. I don't know why I said Camaro. But that is a Chevrolet Corvette Z06.R GT3 car. This is Alexander Anderson. Yes, Alexander Anderson. Currently in 5th position in the session. The number 63 machine. Fortec Motorsports is who he is driving for. Handed the keys to his machine earlier on in the week, as was everyone here. Of course, this isn't like most of the leagues at Race Department. Instead of choosing your car, you're in fact given a car and given a team. It's a lot like in real life. Like if you're in a real motorsport, you were given a contract by a team. You don't care what car it is, as long as you get to race. We have a couple of followers and they're flying past my screen before I can read them, but I've just seen Yayigas has just followed. Thank you very much indeed. So in comes Alexander Anderson, and I've got a proper question, of course, in the Twitch chat there. How many people are going to ruin their pit stops? Now, pit stops have always been... Thank you, JDMER22, for following. So pit stops have always been an important part, as Campfield going overall best in first and second sector. Will he be able to place it on pole? Let us see here. And then we'll continue our talk about pit stops after this. He heads into the final few corners now. No one in front of him, so he shouldn't be held up. The number 46 Mobile One Racing car heading through the chicane now. Currently 3 tenths up in the middle sector. What will it be? Come across the line. Is it going to be an improvement? It is, and an amazing lap time indeed. 2 minutes, 0.641. And Robert Severganges was our first driver to get into the 2 minutes flat, but now Adrian Campfield has beaten that. Will we see anyone get underneath the 2 minute marks? That's going to be a interesting point as Joel Krusman continues around. Currently in 15th on his personal best at the moment. But yes, pit stops are a very important part in this race. Mandatory stop, of course. And we've seen a lot of drivers lose a lot of positions during pit stop stages. And that has been a big practice point for a number of drivers. I know they've been on here for a few hours doing pit stops pretty much every 3 or 4 laps, just so they get the hang of it. They know what they're doing. And it is going to be a very vital part of the race. Today, it's a 90-minute race, of course. We'll see most of those pit stops happen between the half an hour mark, I believe. Even, I think that might be when the mandatory pit stop windows opens. I'm not too sure when it will open and when it will close. Once we find out here, though, we'll know for the rest of the races to come. So, as we are running around, then 15 minutes gone in the session. 15 minutes remain. Ronnie Boehm going off at turn number 1 there as he exits back to pit. Paul Harlow currently on his personal best on the lap. He's in the number 18 machine, the Sebastian Loeb Racing McLaren MP4 12C GT3 car. He's got the Chevrolet Camaro behind him of Bogdan. Hopefully there won't be any issues with those two running near each other on circuit. It looks like Bogdan's actually backing off, maybe on an out lap, and therefore staying out of the way of anyone else. Maybe just trying to create a gap between himself and Hurlo. Obviously not wanting to get held up a little bit later when he gets onto his lap and the coming few corners. Not a personal best for Paul Hurlo in the second sector, however. He is 1.1 seconds down on his lap time at the moment. It's really nice to see a mix of different nationalities though at the top of the field. We do have a whole bunch of British drivers near the bottom. I think that's where the only bit where we've got actually bunched of nationalities is in the midfield. 19th to about 24th. We have 5 British drivers with an American driver spitting them at the moment. The American driver spitting them is Giuseppe. He's in 22nd position. We have got everyone set a lap at the moment. The slowest lap being set at the moment in the session is a 2:04.349 by Ross Garland, unfortunately. And actually, I completely missed it. Roy Magnus also out on circuit here today as well. And Roy is actually in a different skin than what is on the spotter guide. The spotter guide, he's in HTP Motorsport, but I think he's in ALD Automotive in the simulator. So yeah, it's a red skin in game instead of a blue skin. Continue around the session at the moment though. All 28 cars in the server have been putting in lap times throughout the session. We've all got lap times for everyone as Paul Hurlo goes around really hard on the exit of Luffield there. That's a big hit with the wall. In fact, we saw a crash there with the BTCCs earlier on in the year where there was a huge crash there that caused a safety car to come out for a number of laps. Luckily though, in a simulator, no one would be injured from an incident like that, and it's not going to cause any safety cars to come out either. That's one good thing, I'd say, for racing. But a bad thing is safety cars sometimes close it up. It makes it interesting. Of course, it means that if you make a mistake, you've got to fight your way all the way back up. You can't hope and rely on a safety car to come out in order to get up. It also means that you can't change your strategy following a safety car. But again, that would be quite nice. But a lot of people don't like safety cars. They just want people to race, and it's sometimes unfair to the driver who's pulled away in the lead, for example. And then everyone else gets to catch up to them. They've lost all their hard work. So there's a mixed opinion on safety cars. We're not going to run them because we don't have them. And I have just been joined by someone in my channel. Peter, you've joined. Well, he'll be speaking in a minute, but Peter Lee is now alongside me, of course. Peter and myself, I don't know how we're not bored of each other yet. We spoke for 8 hours yesterday. I hope he is feeling a little bit better, and once he's ready, I'm sure he'll start to speak about what's going on. But Peter is now on the with us here. And as we are running around then, we've got 11 minutes to go of qualifying. And we have got Campfield still on pole position. I don't think we are going to go under that 2-minute time. It would be really nice if we could go under 2 minutes. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. But Adrian Campfield currently our pole sitter in the session by 3/10 ahead of Sevakangas, who in himself is only about half a tenth ahead of Bogdan, or Mr. C as he's also called. He's currently in 3rd, and Matthias Nielsen round out the front front two rows of the grid at the moment, with 10 minutes to go in the session. As we are continuing around at the moment, we have got we're looking at Matthias Nielsen. Actually, he is in 4th position. It was a personal best in that first sector. However, in the second sector, unfortunately, he was about half a second off as he continues around. So, looking at the bottom of your field, there has been a switch around. Ross Garland has gone past Roy Magnus. Ross has got a 2-minute 4-second.322. Roy Magnus 2-minute 4-second.328. So 6,000ths of a second between the two of them at the moment. coming up to the end of the session. But Roy does have some time to improve, but it looks like there'll be some nice battling throughout the field. Everyone separated from a car around them by at least 2 or 3 tenths, if not closer. We do have a really close time, actually, in 18th and 19th position. Steve Legale and Colin Hurks have got identical lap times of 2:02.840. They've literally got the same lap time, both of the cars. Steve Legale is in the number 6 machine of Row Racing. That's a Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG. And then Colin Hurks is in the number 79 Yukuri Ekose machine of McLaren 650S GT3. Now, Peter, unfortunately, is having some issues at the moment with his computer, which is fair enough. That's okay. Hopefully, he'll be joining us before the race begins, and we'll be able to get on with the race with Peter alongside. So, we have got about 9 minutes to go in this session, and I think we're now getting to really where the qualifying results are going to be. It definitely looks like he's going to be able to, everyone's going to stay where they are at the moment. There are still a few changes though. Paul Hurlow, I believe, is the driver that's just gone up in his lap time into 11th. Canfield was out on circuit, but he is back into the garage at the moment. Savagangas and Bogdan, both of them out on circuit, trying to improve on their laps at the moment. We're looking at Craig Dunkley, though, 24th position at the moment with a 2:03.656. He's in the 60A numbered machine of BMW Team SRM. That's in the BMW M6 GT3 as he heads through the old turn 1 and heading up to the Maggots and Beckett's complex. Personal best in the first sector for Craig, though, so let's see what he can do out of the Maggots and Beckett's complex, and let's see if he'll be able to climb up on his lap. At the moment, yes, still a personal best at the moment. He has got, that's Bogdan behind him in the number 88 Chevrolet Camaro. Doesn't look like they're going to affect each other's lap times. Dunkley doing a much tighter entrance compared to Bogdan behind as they continue on down towards the chicane. Again, a much tighter line by Dunkley compared to what Bogdan's running. The BMW heading out of the final 2 corners, though. Bogdan also on a fast lap, which is why he's got right to the rear end, going slightly wide at the final corner. That's probably going to have disallowed his lap anyway. And he goes back to the pits as Craig Dunkley pulls off. It was an improvement on his time. Dunkley moves up to 22nd position, a 2:03.228. As we continue around the circuit at the moment, we've got 6 minutes and 30 seconds, I believe, to go. Yes, 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this session. Looking at Matthias Nielsen, though, he runs wide on the exit of Luffield in the number 38 machine. Heading up towards the old turn 1. We've got the DeWalt Motorsport car. That's what Nielsen is in the Chevrolet Corvette Z06 GT3 machine. Heading out then, 6 minutes to go in the session. Nielsen's run off the circuit, but his lap is still being counted. So he is very lucky in that retrospect. I know that laps are discounted very quickly as soon as you run off the circuit in Race Room. Luckily for Nielsen, he's not gone too far off the circuit or at a location where he wasn't gaining anything from it. But nope, it is in fact a disallowed lap as his timer disappears as he crosses the second timing line. Paul Hurlow crosses the line not to improve his lap time. It was a personal best in the first sector, but it was not a personal best in the second or third. So he will remain in 11th at the moment. Ronnie Boehm sitting in the 96 machine, and that's the Turner Motorsport car, of course, heading up through Woodcott now and towards the old turn 1. He is personal best in first sector. Will he be able to get personal best in second sector? Right, I hope I am joined by Peter now. Peter, you here? now. We're not quite joined by Peter yet, so we've still got 5 minutes for Peter to hopefully fix any issues that he is having. That unfortunately, sometimes these things do happen. But Ronnie Boehm, will he get a overall fastest? No, sorry, a personal fastest. Yes, it is in the second sector. 6 tenths off of the fastest lap, but it is an improvement. So in through up towards the chicane. 4 minutes to go then, and then we have an amazing 90-minute race heading your way around the Silverstone circuit. Currently, we have Adrian Campfield on pole, Savagangis in second, Bogdan in third, and Nilsson rounding out your top 4. Ronnie Boehm crosses the line. Will it be an improvement? Currently in 7th. Crosses the line. It is a slight improvement, but it is not going to be anywhere higher up the order in that position. Right then, we have got 4 minutes to go in the session. Matthias Nilsson really getting a lot of the apex through the Maggots and Beckett's complex. And heading up though, it's not on a personal best in that second sector, unfortunately, for Nilsson at the moment. But it is very close with the qualifying. We have currently got 11 drivers within 1 second of your pole sitter. As we reach the end of qualifying though, be sure to hit that follow button, of course, here at Roast Button, but also be sure to hit that subscribe button, which is at the top of the player, and that is because we've just introduced it. You can now subscribe to Race Department on Twitch. So if you feel like doing that, be sure to hit that button and subscribe to us. It's half price at the moment, I've been told. And also, if you've got Amazon Prime, you can use your free Prime subscription on us. So if you want to do that, then that's what you can do. As we have less than 3 minutes to go in this qualifying session now. We're going to have a little look at the results now, because otherwise we'll never be able to see them. Adrian Campfield currently on pole position. It looks like it will stay that way with the 2 minute .542. Robert Sevagangas in second position, 4 tenths behind. Bogdan sits in third position in the session, with Nilsson and Anderson rounding out your top 5. We have Cyril, Saucy Cyril, in 6th position, with Ronnie Boehm in 7th. Van Buskommen and Herlo in 8th and 9th, and then Joel Kasiman rounds out your top 10. Anders Mør, David van der Veen, Magnus Sternbury and Bram Hengeveld are on row 6 and 7, followed by Mike McGear and Giannis Christodoulou on row 8. Wyatt, Steve Legale, Colin Hurks and Paul Fenwick round out your top 20. Gibb, Dunkley, Giuseppe, Root Wilson, Ross Garland and Stacco are rows 11 through 13, and then it's going to be Alex Cosson, and Roy Mangus at the rear of your field. That has been an improvement from Ross Garland though. He was struggling to get higher than 27th and 28th before, but he's been able to move it a couple of positions up towards 25 and not too far off the rest of the group there. As we are getting into the final minute and 20. And we're just getting Peter into the server, and then he will be able to join us in the commentary booth as qualifying is coming to an end. 1 minute to go in the session here. And it is still Campfield on top. So then, if you want to get involved in the conversation, we have 2 ways in which you can do that. Of course, if you're watching on Twitch, be sure to just type in the chat. There's a lot of conversation going on in the chat right now, so you can get involved that way. You can also get involved in the conversation using the hashtag RDGTC over on Twitter as well. 30 seconds to go here in the qualifying session before drivers will be just finishing their laps. We only have 10 cars out on circuit at the moment, and I'm not expecting any improvements on them. 2 of the cars out on circuit, though, are Campfield and Sevagangas. So they are still putting in laps at the moment. This driver also is putting in a lap. This is Matthias Nilsson. He's currently running his personal best in the first sector. This is going to be his last chance, though, as the session comes to an end. Right. Coming to an end of the qualifying session, then will Nilsson be able to move any higher up the grid? He's in fact lost it down to 5th. Bogdan's lost it to 4th because Ronnie Boehm isn't improved on his lap time and now sits 2400th of a second ahead of Bogdan, knocking him down to 4th position on the grid. Nilsson then down to 5th. That's not what he would have wanted. Will he be able to improve? He is currently about 2/10 off. Well, if he improves 2/10 actually, he'll be able to get into 2nd position. Unfortunately, the timings have gone down for you because the session has pretty much come to a close. Hoping Matthias will be able to finish his lap. I'm not sure whether he will or not. We've only got Nilsson, Van Buskommen and Bram Hengeveld out on circuit at the moment. Nope, he's not going to finish his time, unfortunately. Qualifying's come to an end. It's now the race time. And I'm hoping that we will have Peter Lee here for the start of the race, as drivers are about to get out onto the circuit here. Right, they have 30 seconds to get onto the circuit, and hopefully we'll be able to see the grid very shortly, as I'm still going to complain about the start of the sessions with race rooms, because this is really annoying how I can't see the starting grid, and I'm only stuck with one person, so looking at one person until everyone gets to the grid. But here we go, look at that view, the GTs heading down the straight. That's beautiful to see. As I also want to get the standings up on the side quickly. Here we go, the race is about to begin. And we are away. The race has started. 90 minutes of running is underway. And it's going to be Sevik Angus who's got an amazing start into turn number 1. But it's actually going to be Campfield already ahead. Nilsson has got up to 3rd position, starting in 5th. Bogdan's up to 4th. Boehm down to 5th. Sevik Angus falling down the order even further now. It's 3 wide into the first complex of corners here. It looks like they're going to be able to sort themselves out going through farm. And they are. There's a little bit of a wobble further behind from Magnus Sternbury. He gets it back straight though as he continues on. There's contact, big contact, somehow holding that massive slide, heading along now towards Brooklands. It's 3 wide just behind. Bram Hengeveld in the middle of that. He backs out, and it looks like they all go single file into Brooklands. Bram trying to hold the outside line, but he can't quite do it at the moment as they keep on going forwards. It's almost 3 wide through Luffield. It's going to be Hengeveld. Boehm's got on his inside. Kuzim's on his outside. Kuzim's on slightly wide in the Nissan. Bram is through, and now Kuzim is under attack from Ronnie Boehm as they continue around going up towards the old turn 1. And Kuzim is now behind Boehm. Up front, though, that battle is already starting to ease off because Campfield has been able to get an amazing start and pull away. Nilsson is in 2nd in that DeWalt machine, and Bogdan holding on to 3rd at the moment, but it's rather close behind. We've still got lots of battles heading on, definitely in your midfield part of this circuit. We've got Kuzim trying to get maybe back up the order if he can, but we see an attempted move further up. It looks like it's not going to happen at the moment, but yes, Sternbury looks up the inside of Anders Mør. It's going to be side by side. Not quite able to hold it in by Mør, having to drop off very slightly there as they continue up towards the chicane. It doesn't look like any overtakes being made at this point near the higher end of the field. In the midfield, it looks like it's relatively similar, but no, Wyatt has one slightly wide. He's now got Steve Legale on his outside in the row machine. They run side by side into the final corner. Legale leaves more than enough room, slightly running off the circuit, in fact, to leave enough room as everyone heads off to end lap number 1. Legale on the outside, and there's contact with Wyatt. He's forced off the circuit at turn number 1. He gets back on, almost collecting an RDGTC. A little bit of a tap behind from Ross Garland. There's more contact as he texts around Root Wilson. 3 staff members involved in one incident there. They all get back going though. And Steve Legale is going to remain slowing down for Root Wilson. You don't need to do that in a league. You will suffer penalties anyway. That will be handed out. But you don't actually need to follow that. That is not a rule in leagues. But it's nice to see that it is still followed, of course. and the gentleman spirit is still there. Joel Kazim in 14th at the moment, behind Ronnie Boehm. As they head down towards the old pit lane and old turn number 1. It's quite close in the battle for P number 4. Davy van der Veen looking to get past Robert Sevikangas here. He's on the outside heading into the Maggots and Beckett's complex. Can't quite make that stick at the moment. As it's also an overtake, looks like it's trying to happen behind, but nothing can come out of that. Still behind Anderson right now. What's going to happen between Davy van der Veen and Robert Sandervis though? Sevikangas. That's who it actually is. As they head up now. The old... sorry, not the old turn. It is the penultimate turn. Third to last turn? Fourth to last turn. I think it's the fourth to last turn because of the chicane, of course. At the moment, Van der Veen not able to do anything past Sevikangas. Right behind, though. Looking to get up the inside. No. Can't do it through the second part of the chicane. Going to stay behind for now. Heading off of lap number 2, I believe this is. They continue around at the moment. As there's a bit of side-by-side wheel banging going on with a few of the cars. But it looks like it is staying all relatively clean anyway. Hopefully no incidents into the village complex. This lap, no. It stays all clean. Drivers starting to separate up a little bit now into their more respective fights with drivers who are more of their skill level. We're currently looking at Anders Meyer. He's in the middle of this multi-car battle. He's got Cyril leading that battle in the Bentley. He's got Sternbury just in front. He's got Van Bus coming behind with a further 5 cars just behind that. So it's really close with all of these cars in the midfield section. But David van der Veen is still looking to get past Robert Sevikangas. But he's still got Anders Alexander actually over the rear of his rear ring as well, as they head up towards the old turn number 1. So we are about 5.5 minutes done in this session as Anderson runs through the Maggots and Beckett complex, losing a little bit of time. In fact, Davy van der Veen is all over the rear of Sevikangas, and we might be able to see an overtake this time. Coming on to Hangar Straight. About 2 seconds, 0.2 of a second between the two of them. It's increasing though along the straight as they head up towards the end of the lap. It's gonna remain in a line at the moment, heading into the chicane once again, remaining behind. But he's going to try a little switch back on the exit. Couldn't quite do it though. Davy van der Veen remains in 5th position. And joining me now with an hour and 23 minutes to go, 7 minutes down, we've got Peter.
Hello, I am here now. I had a few technical difficulties, but I'm now here, and it looks like a great race for 4th position.
Yeah, fantastic race indeed. We've got multiple cars involved, and actually with Davy and Sevikangas having a little bit of a battle, it's also allowed Cyril to close up a little bit as well in his Bentley. And Cyril's leading that massive train of cars anyway that goes all the way down to 14th position.
Yeah, there's a good variety involved in there. I can see BMWs, McLarens, and there's also 2 McLarens there as well. There's a Nissan as well involved in that battle. So it's great to see this number of cars on this circuit.
Yes, of course, there's 28 cars racing around today out of the 30 that were signed up for the race. Of course, we do have a spotter guide available for you if you head over to the website. If you go to the latest race post, you will see that there. Robert Sevikangas still under attack though. Davy van der Veen did look for the overtake heading into the old turn 1, but it's just not quite an overtaking location. Most of the circuit is very difficult to overtake actually.
Yeah, it's very true. There's very few slow corners. In fact, the penultimate complex, the Farm and Abbey complex, and then the Woodcut and Brooklands complex is the only real slow corners. Other than that, it's going to be very difficult for Davy to get past the Bentley there of Sevikangas just because of the Bentley straight.
But he's gone around the outside.
Yes, it's unconventional, but it may work with the extra traction of the Porsche. If he can stay on the inside for the next corner, which he can, he should get through.
And it's going to allow Anderson to go for the overtake behind as well. Can't quite do it though. A little bit of contact on the exit. That's going to allow Cyril to attempt to pass Anderson. But no, it's going to stay in line. Davy van der Veen up to 4th though. What an overtake.
Yeah, very nice move. Set up well around the outside. I'm amazed he got the straight line speed considering how quick the Bentley is. I think behind the Camaro it's probably the quickest car out there. But a good move to make it around the outside, just showing how good that Porsche is through the corners, and then to keep it on the inside for the next complex. But now it looks like Severgengas is really under pressure now. He's got the Mercedes and then fellow Bentley behind, as well as 2 BMWs and a McLaren, so it's going to be very difficult for them to hold off in that big Bentley.
Yeah, Bentley, very heavy car indeed, and we had Roy Magnus in the chat earlier on saying it's very heavy through the slow corners. Of course, Silverstone, it's a very fast circuit. There are a few slow corners around here, and that's going to cause some issues for the drivers in those cars. This league, then, I was saying earlier, it's different from the rest, of course. Drivers were given their car instead of choosing which ones they prefer. That means that pretty much everyone's had a learning curve heading into this race weekend, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out actually on top. Currently, Adrian Campfield is really showing being the dominant driver.
Yeah, that Corvette is a pretty good all-rounder car. The Bentley, I've been told, is one of the quickest if you can get the setup right. I've certainly seen lots of hot lap videos with the Bentley up there, and you can see that we're running 4th and 6th at the moment. But if it was me choosing, I'd choose the Camaro, as I always do, and it's good to see it running in 2nd, just because of the OP straight line speed. But I think it's nice for them to have a learning curve and get to the use of the cars, and I think by the time we get to the 3rd and 4th rounds, there'll be much more use. We may see a mix up in the field.
Yes, as we have a little bit of a look from Cyril up the inside of Anderson. Anderson did go defensive into the chicane though, which caused Cyril to have to slow down a little bit more than he would have wanted to. It's allowed the back pack behind to close up even more. It's 6 cars, in really close proximity. This has also allowed Davy van der Veen to pull out over 2 seconds to this battling pack behind him.
Yes, it has. Of course, always battling will slow them down, as the BMW has a look at the inside. The 174 there of Sterneby looking up the inside. Now on the outside gets pushed out. That's allowed the number 3 of Mir to get through. And it's also going to allow the McLaren to get alongside down the long straight towards Brooklands, but not at the moment.
It's started to open up though, but slightly as Cyril runs slightly wide into Woodcut. He's got the inside line to Lovefield though. He's got Murr on his outside, but that is now an increase in a 2nd gap to Anderson and Severgengas ahead. It's going to mean that the pressure's slightly eased off on those two at the moment, and they might try to work together to pull away. I'm not too sure though, because Anderson is only a 1/10 of a second behind Severgengas heading up into the old turn 1, so he might make a move there at some point during this lap.
Yes, I should think the best opportunity for the Mercedes there is to get the run out of a quick corner and then dive up the inside into a slower corner. So a place like Copse, running through the inside of the old turn 1 at Copse, and then trying to get the drive out and get the inside line for Magnus and Becky's might work. Other than that, maybe the draft will work. I'm not too sure how quickly Mercedes is in a straight line. From memory, they're about balanced the two, so the draft should help us. Once more we see Severgengas going defensive there. A little bit of a tap on the rear from the Mercedes, but the nose to tail as they head down to the final section of corners.
And going into the chicane, they are side by side, but it's going to be Severgengas able to hold out ahead. Behind, there has been a battle going on between those cars. Murr comes out ahead of Cyril. Sternby was running side by side with Cyril going up towards the chicane. Wasn't able to do that And Sternbury is just going to have to remain onto 9th position at the moment. That battle, though, for P number 5, Suffolk Angus and Anderson, it still remains close, but... oh, and extremely close, because Anderson's run off the circuit. He's going to have to remain on the inside. The number 63 of Anderson leaves him enough room. He's now on the outside, and he is through. He's up into 5th, and now Suffolk Angus loses another position down to 6th at the moment, and he has got more cars all over the rear of his tail.
Yes, and then it's going to be more and more difficult for him to hold on as the tyres wear down. I should expect a one stop in this race, but drivers are going to have to be careful. From my experiences, it's even difficult to do half an hour in these cars, and there was a change actually further down the field between the two McLarens. Paul Hurlow getting past the sister McLaren car, so a great move for him.
Yes, and that is a great move for him. Indeed, there is actually quite a lot going on around the rear, but we do have a retirement already. Lolo Stacco is our retirement from the session in the Chevrolet. We've still got some midfield battles as well as those ones up front. We've got this battle going on between Bram Hengeveld and Joel Kuzimi. Kuzmin? I'm not too sure how to pronounce that one, but that's a battle for P number 12. There's about 3/10 between them at the moment as they head on to Hanger Straight. It looks like Bram actually going really defensive along Hanger Straight, sticking to the right-hand side. Kuzimi goes to the left. Can't quite get the outside line working for him. Maybe looking for a switchback. Not really what you want anyway coming up to the chicane. Bear in mind it means that you'll then be on the outside line. But he remains in 13th at the moment. Not able to get past Hengeveld, who sits ahead. That battle, of course, what is now actually P number 6. Suffolk Angus down to P number 6, of course. Anderson hasn't pulled away as much as Davy van der Veen did, of course. But that might change over the next few laps as Mur goes around the outside of Robert Suffolk Angus. Really be able to make that work. It's going to be the inside through the next turn. And he gets a little bit too much at the sausage curve, but he is through. And now Anders Murs moves up into 6th position. Robert Suffolk Angus behind to 7th, but actually he tries it back along on the outside, heading along Hanger Straight.
Yeah, he's going to be on the outside into Brooklands and Woodcut and Luffield. Bentley, as we've seen, has been struggling through the slow corners. The question is, can the BMW go all the way around the outside? It doesn't look like it at the moment, and it's going to be the Bentley staying ahead just because of its straight line speed and its acceleration out of Aintree.
I'm glad you know a couple of the more corner names than I do, because I'm a little bit... I have sparse knowledge on corner names here at Silverstone. It is my local circuit, but it doesn't mean I know it off by heart. But we still got this 3-car battle all within... there's 3/10 between Suffolk Angus and Mur. There's about 3/10 between Mur and Cyril as well. Not too far behind, but about a second behind is Sternbury, trying to get involved. But he seems to be sliding his Alpina quite a lot at the rear of this field, and it looks like he's struggling to control that car.
Yeah, I think the Alpina in general is quite a tail-happy car, and just looking at the body language of that car, it doesn't look particularly stable going into the corner, but maybe that's how he likes to drive it, and it seems to be working for him at the moment into 7th position, I think, or is it further down, slightly further down, and it looks like Cyril Sauce has got some damage there on the front of the Bentley.
I believe you may be right that it looks like there may be slight damage. Not much damage though to continue around. He did try on the outside going into the chicane. Wasn't quite able to make that overtake stick in this battle at the moment for P number 6. Do you know what, for us, we aren't doing too well, the British drivers, are we? Quite far down the order. We've only got Campfield out leading. The rest are doing quite far down. But here comes Mur. He tried to switch back out of the village complex. Couldn't quite do it. Still right over the rear though, heading up towards Brooklands. Oh, and a massive dive bomb by Sosa Cyril, and it's going to have to try a switch back from Anders Mur. Sorry for interrupting you there, as that dive bomb was performed, coming through left field, and it is going to be Cyril through. What an overtake, a really late move.
Yeah, a late move, but it definitely worked, and that Bentley, the straight line speed of it helped it get alongside, and then in the braking zone he just dive bombed him. But I think the BMW was slightly offline anyway. Mir perhaps trying to get the run into the next corner, perhaps, but unable to do that, and that's allowed the Alpina to come a little bit closer to this battle as well as they go into Maggots and Beckett's.
Yes, as they are about half a second behind Mir, behind Cyril. Cyril about 4 tenths behind Savagangas as this battle for P number 6 continues to rage on. Throughout the rest of the field at the moment, there aren't too many close battles. The drivers start to get into their rhythm. Of course, once the mandatory pit window opens up, that's when it's going to cause havoc. And Peter, you know all about havoc with pit windows.
Yes. And if I was one of these drivers, I'd hope my pit stop box is quite a way down the pit lane, just so you've got time to confirm your pit options once you get into the pit lane, because you've got to request your pit stop and then confirm them and then accept them once you get into the pit lane, which is very confusing.
Yes, there's a lot of practice going on by a number of the drivers early on trying to get that down. And like you said, hopefully most of the teams will be further down the pit lane and they won't have to worry too much about doing it as quickly as possible. Of course, you've also got to focus of where your pit stall is. That's something you also missed, I believe, Peter, 1 week, where your pit stop was.
Yes, pit stall location and pit confirmation is the 2 things you've got to concentrate on. And of course, the third thing is the pit speed limiter line. Got to know where that is and know where you've got to take it off, because that's a mistake I've made as well, is taking it off before you get out the pit lane.
Of course, yes. You want to take it off as you've exited the pit lane. Don't want to get any penalties. There is a very slight battle going actually on near at the rear of the field. And there's actually a little bit of a contact. There's about, I say a little battle, there's more cars than I was expecting. There's about 8 cars involved in this. They're going 3 wide through Lovefield. Around goes Colin Herks onto the grass on the on-field of Lovefield. Everyone else seems to be going okay now. Alex Crossan has just been able to get past Craig Dunkley after running side by side through Woodcott. But it looks like everyone now has got single file in that battle, but that got extremely close. A little bit of contact, and unfortunately, Colin Herks comes out the worst in that 26th position in this race. Only 1 car still remaining in the race behind him, and and that is Luke Wilson, 9 seconds down.
Yeah, a bit too many drivers into one space, I think, down there. But further up, we've got a position change. The Nissan of Joel Koosman has got past Bram Henderveld, and he's now pulling away from the Alpina. We've also got the fellow Nissan going through as well, the 81, which is Mike McGeer. So, looks like Bram's falling back a little bit.
Anders Murr is up to 6th, Robert Savagangas up to 5th, Saucy Cyril up to 7th. Everyone has gone up to a position there because there's been a drop by Alexander Anderson. He moves back down to 8th, a mistake most likely. It's caused him to fall down the order. Someone's also disappeared from that battle actually, because Joel Kuzman and Bram Hengeveld, originally that battle was for P number 12, but now it's turned into a battle for P number 11. So someone's dropped out of that battle.
Yes, I believe it is the black McLaren there, the 11A of Brian Van Booskom. He was battling with fellow McLaren driver earlier on. That was Paul Hurlow, but however, I believe he's fallen down the order a bit, so presumably due to a mistake, as you mentioned. And
there it looks like there's going to be an overtake, so looks to the inside of Anders Murr for P number 6. Couldn't quite do that though, through the old turn 1. Obviously a very fast corner. It's not really an overtaking location unless the driver in front of you's made a mistake. And same with Maggots and Beckett's really, as 3 cars remain in line. That's Anders Murr ahead of Cyril, ahead of Anderson. But here goes Cyril actually. He's going to try up the inside of Beckett's. Very interesting line that he attempted. He's really get a better exit out of it. It looks like he has. He's actually running alongside already, heading up towards the final few corners, and it looks like he's on the inside. He's up. He's back into 6th. Murr back down to 7th, but he's going to try to switch back up the inside, getting a lot of the apex, bouncing the car, unsettling it as they head to the chicane. Cyril slightly ahead at the moment, but he's got the inside line. He is through. Murr's going to come under attack from Anderson, but nothing happens of it. Or will it, because he's run slightly wide? No, he won't. But Magnus Turnbull back into the battle as well, just behind.
Yes, that four-way battle really has been going throughout the race, and I'm actually surprised that the other Bentley, number 7 Bentley of Sevagengas, managed to break away, considering he seemed very vulnerable earlier on in the race to the battles behind. However, it seems he's got a lap or two of clean air that has meant he's been able to concentrate on his own race, and you can see that because he's got a little bit of a gap now to the drivers behind.
Yes, he's actually got quite a gap. It's about 2.5 seconds. Pit window has also opened for these drivers now, so they are able to come down pit lane. However, I don't expect to see anyone down pit lane just yet. You'd rather go longer in through the race and take on less fuel come the end. But of course, your pit stop has to be a certain length, so I'm not too sure how long that required length is. But with an hour and 6 minutes to go, drivers can come down pit lane. I'd expect that to be open for about 45 minutes, the pit lane, for drivers to make their stop. As Bram Hengeveld up to 11th position because I believe someone's dropped behind. I believe, yes. There has been a few drivers dropping behind because Bram Hengeveld up to 11th, Mike McGeer now up to 12th, and Joel Kisman moves into a top 10.
Yes, and it seems that the attrition rate has now begun in this race. We've already had one retirement, and other drivers starting to make mistakes as tyre wear starts to play an effect.
It's Craig Dunkley, actually. It was Craig Dunkley who came out because he has also retired from this race now. 26 cars remain.
Okay, so another retirement in this race. But I was about to say that Mike McGeer was all over the back of Bram Hengeveld as he came into Cops, but had to back out of it. In fact, he was alongside pretty much, but unable to make the move. And as he had the tighter line and the less superior line, he had to lose some time going into Maggots and Beckett as well. And that is why he's now come under threat from Brian Van Rooskamp.
Yep, that's a battle for what is 11th with Bram, but Mike McGeer holds on to 12th. Van Rooskamp trying to get back up the order in the objective racing car. McLaren, the McLaren, one of the nicer cars for myself to drive. Rough is obviously the easiest, but McLaren is a very nice car indeed. And probably a nice car to be placed in for these drivers. I mean, some people obviously have different preferences, not going to be happy with their the offer they were given from their team. But in the end, it's a lot like real life. If you're going to be offered a drive by a team, you don't care what car it is, as long as you get to race.
Yeah, it's very true. And if they can prove themselves in a lesser car, these cars are pretty well matched, but if you can prove yourself in a lesser car, then that's going to be very good. That's going to be very good for the spectators watching, and you can prove yourself. And as you said, the Rough probably one of the easier cars to drive, and that's probably a good thing over the 90-minute race. And you know, the consistency is key with the 90 minutes. It's not a sprint race by any means, and you've got to really stay on your toes for the whole 90 minutes. And if that means you can be easier on the brakes, easier on the throttle, and it's an easier car to drive, then it's going to make your life easier as well. Yes,
and most of these drivers have done hour-long races before. Some of them have not done hour-and-a-half long races. That's obviously how long today's race is. A few, though, have done longer than that because they were taking part in the Le Mans series. Roy Magnus, one of those. Steve Legale, another one of those drivers that have been racing in the Le Mans series. So there are a few drivers who do know endurance racing, and they know about just trying to be consistent, and hopefully it will get you a good result come the end of it. And they're probably just not pushing as hard as certain other drivers are, knowing that that's what an endurance race is really all about in the end.
Yes, I guess for them it's probably like a stint and a half that we saw yesterday. Obviously a different simulator and a different car that most of them will be driving, but for example, Roy Magnus was driving the Ferrari yesterday, and today he's been in a Bentley, which I imagine is very different, as well as the slightly different physics of race room. Not that they're any worse. I commend them myself. I don't know about you, but I certainly commend them. As we got a battle going on ahead, as Cyril Sauce gets up the inside once more, and Andreas Meur. Can Meur get back up the inside into the next corner? Sauce runs wide. Meur's got the chance on the inside. He opens the pocket, and the pocket was open as they go through the final old corner and down towards Copse. But I believe the Bentley's going to have the straight line speed, and yes, it does. So, unfortunately for Andreas Meur, the Bentley stays ahead for now.
That was a great attempt, though, at the trying to hold on to it through Lovefield, getting on the inside. Yeah, unfortunately, Bentley, much stronger car, and in fact, the gap's already opened up to over a second between them now as they head through Maggotts and Beckett's. Of course, Meur's going to be able to close it a little bit through these corners, but then they get straight back onto Hanger Straight, and that Bentley's going to be able to pull away once more. Like you say, the Bentley much faster along the straights.
Yeah, I should think once we get to circuits with a few more corners, Nürburgring being one of them, the BMW might be a bit more into its own, of course, but here at Silverstone, very few corners in comparison to straights. There's 2 very long straights and a number of other medium-sized straights, and that's going to be very difficult for the BMW. So Andreas Meur doing a great job so far in that BMW.
He is doing a fantastic job, obviously, the highest BMW running. How many BMWs do we actually have in this race? I think he's the only one. I think he is the only BMW running today. No, Ross Garland, of course, in the other BMW. Both of them teammates, in fact. They're both racing for Mark VDS Racing. It's not going too well for the number 4 machine of Ross Garland, sitting in 19th at the moment. He's got Alex Crossan in the number 14 Audi machine just behind. I don't know why, but I used to actually be obsessed with driving the Audi. When I was on Stock Car Extreme, I downloaded a GT3 mod, and that would be the only car I would drive, and I'd do it for hours upon hours. And I don't know why I got so obsessed with it, but it is a really nice car.
Yeah, you sometimes get thrown into these like cars. I chose the Camaro just because it was the cheapest to buy, and I've just stuck with it and ended up liking it. It's a bit difficult for setup, and it's certainly difficult around the corners, but it's so fun going past each other, going past other drivers on the straight. So that's my preference within race room. But it's great to see 3 Chevrolets in the top 3 at the moment. The 2 Camaros sandwiching the 2 Corvettes.
Sorry, I'm just going to have to quickly interrupt you there because we're going 3 wide into Brooklands, but it's gone down to 2 wide. Colin Herx alongside Paul Fenwick. Herx has dropped, Stephen Gibb has dropped from 22nd to 25th since the beginning of the lap as they exit through Luffield. That is a lot of positions lost for such a short period of time. As they continue on now. Less than an hour to go in this race. Yes, to see anyone down pit lane to do their mandatory stop. Sorry about interrupting you there.
That's no problem. Action is always priority to Waffle. And there's a car around as well, the number 18 McLaren.
Yes, Paul Hurlow around
Paul
in
Hurlow,
the Sebastian Loeb
well.
racing.
And it looks like he's gone round on one of the curbs at Maggotts and Beckett's. He's going to rejoin, but a lot further down the field. In fact, he's going to join just in front of Colin Herx. So, 2 McLarens together. In fact, he's going to join behind Colin Herx. In fact, just in front of Ruth Wolfson.
Do you know what? It's really sad to see, actually, how many British people are at the rear of this field. But we do have a British driver obviously leading, Alan Campfield doing a nice job. For
the first pit stop, I believe.
Oh.
For number 3, Andreas Meur.
So, wow, that is a really early pit stop from Andreas then. Andreas Meur? No, he's not. He's out. Oh, no, 1 minute.
Or is that a drive-through?
No, that must have been a pit stop. It is green. You're right. It is a pit stop for Anders Meur. A very quick stop, actually, in fact. Coming out in 14th position. That is actually not too bad. He came in from about 7th, isn't he? He was battling behind Cyril.
Yeah, he was. He was quite high up, and obviously deciding that he wants to get out that battle. And if I was him, I would do the same, because it seemed like he wasn't going to be anywhere with the power of the Bentleys around him. So great to see him do such a good stop as well. That's very, very quick, 'cause he's only lost about 25 seconds, and it takes about 15 seconds to get down the pit lane, so must have been a very quick stop.
Oh, this is the Silverstone pit lane. I'm sure it takes even longer than that. So a very, very quick mandatory stop there for Anders Møller, getting it out of the way very soon as well. He's the first driver down pit lane. 13 cars in front of him. Lighter cars. I don't think there was any tyre change on Mo. I don't think they would have been able to do it that quickly. Maybe just topping up of fuel to get to the end. I'm not too sure how on earth he did a pit stop that quick.
Yeah, you'd find it difficult to do 90 minutes on one set of tyres, but unless he's planning the two-stop strategy, I mean, there's nothing against doing that. And but you'd think he'd take the tyres on in one go. You've got to remember that the pit lane here at Silverstone does cut out the final section of corners, so you do cut out that, but even so, you've got 15-20 seconds of pit speed limiter time, plus the pit stop itself, so it must have been less than 10 seconds, I would have thought, for the pit stop.
That seems about right. That is an extremely fast stop, and well, he'll continue going about middle of the field at the moment. There's a little bit of a battle going between Christopher Delulu and Giuseppe, the Audi behind the Mercedes. Battle for P number 15. The number 8 machine leads the number 12 machine. Going onto the straight though, and the Audi moves to the left-hand side. That's going to be the inside of Brooklands.
Yes, he's going to be right alongside the fellow German car, Harry Bow liveried Mercedes. Going to try and go around the outside. He's gone a little bit too deep though, and the Audi gets through. Christodoulou makes the better of Gillespie then.
Yep, another Audi in the wars. It's going to be Alex Cosson up the inside of Ross Garland. There's a little bit of contact. I don't think the BMW realised the Audi was there. But the number 14 of Alex Cosson moves past, but he slid it, and he's going to slide right into the path of Roy Magnus in the Bentley. Luckily, Steve Legale, who's just behind in the Mercedes, slowed down in time, and he continued on. I'm being told in the chat that he did change tyres, otherwise the mandatory pit stop doesn't count. So that was with the tyre change. That's an extremely quick stop for the BMW team.
Yes, the only thing I can think is he's only took 2 tyres on, because I believe if you take 2 tyres on, that is mandatory. But sorry, I got slightly scared because I thought the number 200 of Cyril Sauce had an incident, but it was just a little bit of lag on my end. But anyway, yeah, very quick stop, and I don't remember them being that quick when I did a long race. Then again, I did get it completely wrong, but once it did start, I don't remember it being that quick.
We have Christopher Lulu over the rear of Giuseppe. That means that Giuseppe's got back through in his Mercedes. And that means Christopher Lulu now down in his Audi once more. He's also got Wyatt just behind in the Corvette. So probably hoping that he can stay out of that. Not too close behind though. About a second. But getting into the village complex, going to the rear wing of Giuseppe, not able to make an overtake yet. Actually, he tries for the inside, and he might be looking for the same overtake that he made last lap.
Yes, it may be possible again. Possibly the Mercedes strong on one half of the circuit and the Audi strong on the other. The Mercedes very defensive down into Brooklands, but moves back onto the racing line. Gillespie going a little bit wide, that might give Mike Wyatt the opportunity to close in. Indeed it has, but not quite able to get right behind the Audi. The Corvette struggling to turn there and gets a little bit sideways on the exit, but a great three-way battle between 3 different marques, which is, I think, the essence of GT racing, is very close drivers in different marques.
Yeah, of course, and like we were saying earlier, these drivers have had to learn most of these cars anyway, pretty much from scratch, as they go up towards Maggots and Becker's Ava. Definitely showing the skill that they've got here, that they're able to transfer the skill that they've had from one car into another car. Even though they're fighting near the rear end of the field, they're in obviously this battle for 15th position, by no means it means that they would be battling at the rear of the field. I know that these drivers are normally at the front of the field in club events. That shows you just how competitive these leagues are here at Race Department.
Yes, and you don't know how much practice people have had, and you don't know how much time people have had to perfect setup and things like that. I can imagine Roy Magnus, after commentating for the final few hours of the RDLMS, will be a little bit tired behind the wheel of his Bentley and possibly not getting as much practice as he did for the RDLMS. Obviously, a team event would be priority over this, I should think, for him. But a nice little battle forming between the Nissan and the McLaren, the number 33 of Johnny Huseman and the 11A of Brian van Buurskom. Very close together at the minute. The McLaren just out of reach of the YouTube liveried Nissan at the moment, but coming through the complex to finish the old lap. We're very close together.
Yep, heading out of the Luffield section, of course. There's about half a second between them then. The Scumman in the McLaren chasing down that Nissan car. This is a battle within the top 10, because Vernon has actually been able to climb up the order very slowly. He was obviously first involved in that battle, Bram Hengeveld, when he was in 13th, but he's slowly been moving up the order with other drivers having mistakes, obviously a pit stop as well from Anders Murr, and just been overtaking a few cars. He has been able to get into a top 10, which would be a very strong start to the season. Obviously only 4 rounds, so every point really does count in this championship.
Yes, the last season of the RDGTC was run on a set of course that had 6 rounds, so slightly shorter calendar this time. And just looking at Andreas Murr, and he's currently getting held up by the Nissan of Mike McGeer here, unfortunately. So that strategy, that's the downside of that strategy, is that in order to get ahead of the cars and leapfrog them, he needed clean air, and he's currently not getting that. Then again, the driver he was battling, Cyril Sauce, is currently all over the rear of fellow Bentley driver Severgengas, so coming into the farm and village complex is going to be very difficult for him to overtake the Bentley. He's going to dive from the inside. No, he's not going to quite get there. Can he get the run out the corner and onto the Wellington straight? It doesn't look like it. Severgengas getting the power down a lot earlier and a lot smoother there.
Yes, a really good exit from Severgengas, not so much from Cyril, but we shall see how it goes over the course of the rest of the lap. Actually, I think Cyril dropped it to about 4 or 5 seconds behind Severgengas when he was involved in that about 5-car battle, but he gets really close through Luffield there to the rear end of Severgengas. But once again, that 7 machine having a better exit. The number 200, though, it's the biggest number on the circuit. He is sticking close to Severgengas heading up to the old turn 1.
Yes, and a good run out here might lead him onto the inside. He's going to try around the outside, which will turn into the inside. Doesn't quite get there. Once more flashing his lights there at the fellow Bentley driver as they go through Maggots and Beckett. And going to be close once again onto the Hanger Straight. He's going to need a good run out of here, and a little bit of draft will help, and he's very close onto the straight, so this could be a good opportunity. Depends which side he decides to go, covering the inside line for Severgengas. But Cyril Sauce going to the outside now. Can he get through? No, he leaps back to the inside and goes up the inside, and he's made that move stick, so very good move. Ran him the dummy, and Severgengas moves down the order, and Severgengas in fact pitting.
Yes, Severgengas diving into the pit lane, and we should see how long his pit stop is. Will he come out ahead or behind Anders Murr? Now, Murr has been involved in a battle, though, since his pit stop with Ronnie Boehm, so he's not been able to gain any time with doing that that early stop. So, really, it might not have been a benefit for him to do that that earlier pit stop.
Yeah, he's currently behind fellow BMW driver number 96 there. That's Ronnie Boehm. And currently struggling to get up the inside anywhere. He did get past at one point, but not able to get past again. Just looking where that Bentley is, and it's currently still in the pit lane, so unless the Bentley gets out incredibly quickly, that it doesn't, it looks like an extended stop for Severgengas.
Yep, as Murr looks around the outside of Ronnie Boehm, trying to get past this battle, but that just shows, as Severgengas now exits pit lane, it just shows how much time actually Murr did gain in that pit stop. Severgengas' pit stop did count as well. That's 2 mandatory pit stops done for a couple of our drivers. Murr still looking to get up the order here behind a couple of cars. He looks to the inside, going up towards Brooklands. but not able to do it.
Yeah, and once more there's a battle of the German cars. There's number 12, Aldi of Christodoulou goes once again up the inside of Gillespie, and this time he gets through. The Haribo Mercedes looking around the outside. Can he go all the way around the outside? It looks like he might be able to. He's going to turn into the inside line for the right-hander, but no, not quite able to get there. In fact, yes, he is. The camera was very deceptive through there, and he's through, and that's going to allow the Corvette as well to get alongside number 98 of Mike Wyatt coming into that battle as well.
Yes, as they head down towards the old turn 1, 3 cars. I think these three have been battling. These are the three that have been battling for quite some time now. Giuseppe and Christodoulou, with Wyatt continuously being behind the two of them, hoping to get involved. But there, it looks like Giuseppe just lost, and there's contact. There's an issue, a major issue for Giuseppe. He's now got Sevakangas all over his ear, but he just lost 2 positions straight away. Was that maybe? I don't know what happened there, because he lost a lot of time heading into the Magnussen-Beckers complex.
I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see it myself. I was watching Cyril Sauce go into the pit lane and seeing if he can get out ahead of the BMW of Andres Mur. Mur on the outside of fellow BMW driver there in that battle. So the number 96 of Ronnie Bohm, and he's going to get alongside Bohm as they come around the left-hander, and he's going to get up the inside, is he? Bohm runs wide, but once more the BMW Z4 unable to get past its larger M6 counterpart.
Yes, he's having a hold behind at the moment, but he has got past Cyril and also Kazumid as well as come in, and they've fallen down the order quite a lot. So yeah, Anders Mott, I think it's going to be, as he looks to the inside through Brooklands, it's going to be on the outside of left field. A little bit of contact running wide there. Going to get back into it, but at the moment still behind in Pete number 10. I think he's actually going to be able to climb up really high up the order, and I think he's going to jump a couple of positions after everyone else has stopped. He is only 45 seconds behind Bogdan. And I think the real driver he could probably get involved with a battle with is Nilsson. That's 35 seconds up the road. So once everyone make their stops, he might be able to fight for a podium come the end of the race. We're halfway through the race now, by the way, so this is when we are going to see most people dive into the pit lane. 45 minutes down, 45 minutes to go.
Yep, and speaking of diving down the pit lane, Davy van der Veen, our cameraman himself, diving into the pit lane. Cyril Sauce's pit stop was very slow. He lost a position to Magnus Sternby. The Alpina was behind going into the pit lane, but he's now got ahead, and also the Mercedes there diving into the pit lane as well. Just trying to see who that is, the number 63 of Anderson. So 2 drivers in the pit lane at the moment. Anderson stopping at his box. Van der Veen still there. Just looking where the BMW is, and the BMW is coming round onto the start-finish straight to complete another lap, and Van der Veen now gets away. So another position for Andres Mur.
And that, so far, he's up to 6th position. He's got Mike McGeer directly in front of him on the circuit. Only 10 seconds up the road is Brian Van Buscommon. But then it is that, again, it's that huge gap up to Nilsson, but will it close down in the pit stop? I don't know, but this already, it's been 1 position jumped in the pit stop, because he was in 7th before he came in to do his mandatory stop quite early on in the race. But how is that going to affect his tyres come the end?
Yeah, that's the first thing. And the second thing is, if he's had such a slow pit stop, did he actually take on any fuel? He'll have to be saving like mad if he doesn't.
I was going to say, I think he would really need fuel for this with such a long race.
Yes, and it looks like Bram Henjeveld has had a similar strategy, because he's jumped Davy van der Veen. So up ahead now, but Van der Veen's going to go up the inside out of the right-hander there.
I don't
start finish straight and get.
No, I don't think we've seen a pit stop from Bram. Have we?
Yeah, he's been in.
No, he hasn't. I have not.
Has he not.
He's not been in yet. Van der Veen has, but Bram Hengeveld has not been in yet.
Right.
I was going to say, I did not think I did not. Maybe he did, but maybe he just didn't get the correct settings, and he's not done the mandatory stop.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. Is there anyone else in? Yes, there's a few more drivers into the pit lane. And that's the number 96 out. I'm just trying to see who that is. The number 98 of Mike Wyatt is out.
That looks like that's a disqualification, because he's gone right to the bottom of our timing sheets, behind the two that were tied before him. So that may have been a disqualification. Paul Hurlow also out of this race as well.
Yes, a few drivers dropping out at the moment. And now Murr has got past the 81 of Mike McGeer. So McGeer yet to make his stop. Murr has made his stop, and he's the first driver who in the order now to make his stop. The other ones are yet to.
Yeah, Bram Hengeveld is into the pit lane now, by the way. So he is now doing
maybe he missed his box.
Maybe. If so, that's not good, because that's an unfortunate issue for him. We're still yet to see any of our 4 leaders come down pit lane, though. So we're still waiting for Campfield, Bogdan, Nielsen and Van Buskommen to come down pit lane. Once Van Buskommen does come down, Murr is going to get that position. There's no question about it. The question is, will he be close enough for a battle with Matthias Nielsen?
Yes, that's the real question. I think Field and the 88 of Bogdan are safe, but 3rd and 4th, I think, are under threat at the moment. The number 38 Chevrolet of Nielsen coming through Stowe at the moment. He's not going to go into the pit lane, so still deciding his tyres are okay, which is quite a long way into the race now. We're nearly an hour into the race, I would have thought.
Actually, but coming through that chicane, he was drifting a little bit. I saw some opposite lock on his tyres. So that's not good. And, okay, what we've been told is Michael Wyatt, he had a disconnection. He's been having disconnection issues all week. So that's a real shame for Michael coming out of this race. He was battling, I believe, for a top 15 at one point, because wasn't Wyatt behind that battle that was going on between... there was a 3-car battle that he was involved with. Giuseppe and I think it was Murr at the time, wasn't it, who was battling behind them?
Yes, Gillespie and... trying to think who the other driver was. It's escaping me at the moment. The number 8 and the number... I can't remember who it was.
Van Buskommen into the pit lane then, and that means that Anders Murr is up into P number 4. And is on my live timing, it's saying he's 34.5 seconds behind coming out of the village complex.
Quite close at the moment. Be interesting to see where he can get to. The leader currently coming out of Magazine Beckett's onto the Hanger Straight, he's clear, as I think is the Camaro of Bogdan. Bogdan driving that Camaro very well, comes onto the Hanger Straight at the moment. The 3rd position car coming through Beckett's at the moment. And now
Adrian Campfield into the pits. Race leader.
Oh, so our leader into the pit lane.
Yes, leader is into pits. Will Andrea Bogdan follow that? Yes, he does. He also dives into the pit lane. Now it's a question, will it be 3 out of 3? Will Nielsen also come down pit lane in his Chevrolet? No. So it looks like Nielsen is going to be leading this race for a short period of time.
That pit stop for Campfield is still in his box at the moment. However, he's only been there 5 or 10 seconds. And Bogdan is still in his pit lane as well. Where is the Z4 coming down into Stowe? So I don't think he's going to be close enough. Then again, they're still in the pit lane.
Yeah, neither of them moving. They've only just gone up on the jacks. I've only just seen Campfield go up on the jacks. That was fuel. And that is a rough missing his pit lane. That was Stephen Gibb missing his pit lane just behind. Campfield out, though. Campfield is out, but here comes Anders Murr across the line. He's going to get past Bogdan, surely, who's on the exit of the pit lane. This is going to be close. Lights flashing for Murr to get a back marker out the way. And that was Luke Wilson who goes through. But here he comes out of the pit lane. He's still in 4th. He's only just behind Bogdan, though. And Bogdan's only 6 seconds behind Campfield. He's going to be in a battle. He's going to be in 3rd. There's no way that Nilsson's going to be able to hold on to the lead. But this is now going to be a crazy battle. Will Murr be able to hold on? But remember, it's going to be a tyre change for Bogdan and Campfield. They're on fresher rubber, and it looked like they changed all 4 compared to Murr. It looked like he's only changed 2.
Yes, a lot longer in the pit lane. In fact, it has for everyone apart from Murr. So perhaps not taking fuel, which is a peculiarity, but we never know. That Z4 might have very good fuel consumption. I've never seen it before, but then again, I've never run in a 1.5 hour race with a Z4 as a competitor. I know the Camaro wouldn't be able to make it, that's for certain. But maybe the Z4 can.
Maybe as we're almost an hour of the way through this race. Be sure to hit that follow button, of course, if you are watching on Twitch. Be sure also to hit that very new subscribe button that we have. Yeah, you can subscribe to us now. You can give us your money. Yay! Of course, it is at the moment half price, I've been told, for a Twitch subscription. So be sure to take advantage of that right now. Also, you can use your Amazon Prime, your free Amazon Prime, to get involved with us. We have just been told that Paul Hurlow, looks like, the reason he has dropped out of the game is because it has crashed, by the look of it. His game crashed.
I've never seen that before in my own experiences, but it's very well possible.
Important information is Nilsson is into the pit lane.
Right, and he's not even on the jacks yet.
No, Campfield is through, and Bogdan is now through as well. Anders Murr has dropped off a little bit, though. He's 2 seconds down already. He's lost an additional second that lap. So, as you were saying before, though, that Camaro is much faster than the BMW. And for him to even be in 3rd position, I think that's all down to his strategy.
Yes, I think strategy is a large player in that. And Bogdan running slightly wide there. A little bit of opposite lock from the Camaro as he goes through. But I'd expect that Camaro to be slightly quicker. He was quicker before the pit stops as well, just on raw pace, than Murr. Of course, Murr was battling as well, which wouldn't have helped. But with the fresh tyres, I think Bogdan won't be under any threat from Murr.
The only driver yet to come down pit lane out of those still in this race is Mike McGear. He sits in 4th position at the moment. He's really pushing this actually quite far on. He's been running this stint at the moment for about an hour, almost an hour. Do you think he's literally pushing all the way until the end of the pit strategy? If so, he's doing pretty much the opposite of what Anders Murr is doing.
Yeah, it's possible. Maybe thinking that if you can't get the whole way, do just a little splash and dash at the end, along with tyres, and that will help him. But just looking through, does look like that gap between 1st and 2nd has actually closed in the pit stop as well. So maybe a slightly slower stop from Campfield as well has contributed to Bogdan being closer.
Very possibly. I've just been corrected, by the way. It was Paul Fenwick's game who's crashed. So we have 5 retirements in this race, not 4. 23 drivers still remain, Luke Wilson being the last driver in this race. But it is still 34 minutes to go, and like you say, it's really a race of attrition, these hour-and-a-half races. It's not something that we see in a club event, so most of these drivers are only used to maybe an hour-long race. They've got an additional half an hour to go, and it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds within the next 30 minutes of running.
Yes, a lot can change in 30 minutes. I know that myself. You can drop down half a lap if you had a few bad laps. That didn't have to be particularly bad, but it can happen. And on the other hand, you can have a few good laps, and that could bring you up to the front. So we could see the order change yet, but at the front, Campfield looks pretty comfortable. He has all race and looks to be in control in that Corvette.
Yeah, Campfield has been having an amazing race indeed. He really does know how to get that number 46 around this circuit. It was a really good qualifying as well. Starting from 1st, he got the launch off the line. Bogdan did attempt to get up. No, sorry, it wasn't Bogdan who tried to get up the inside. It was Sevik Angus who tried to get up the inside into that turn number 1. But Canfield, even on the outside line, he just got that better line through into turn number 1. Able to pull away, and he's just not been challenged to a race. He's had probably one of the easiest hours of running that I've seen in the GT League before.
Yes, he's had quite an easy race so far from what I've seen as well. Seemed to pull away at the start and then not be challenged too much by the men around him. Possibly if Bogdan got the start, it could have been a different story, but for now it looks like Bogdan is going to have to settle for that second position.
As
dropping back slightly.
Yes, continuing to drop back 4 seconds now. There's a battle for P number 4. Mike McGear still yet to do his stop. He's got Van der Veen all over his rear, who's already done the stop. Mike McGear moves to the left-hand side of the circuit, the outside, as we head up towards Vale. Can't make the move yet.
That rough is very close, though.
And in goes Mike McGear.
Now.
So that's an hour in his first stint. He's going to be going just a third of the race in his second. And again, yeah, that's a lot. That's quite similar to what Mer's doing, just in the opposite fashion, and that might really help out Mike McGee come the end of the race with the fresher compound on his car.
Yes, those new tyres are going to feel glorious on those first few laps. Maybe not on the first few corners, but once they're bedded in, they should be fine. Has he missed his pit box? He's just gone straight through.
So has he not done his stop? Has he literally just driven straight through the pit lane and come back out again?
I believe so.
Yeah, it looks like he's... it looks like, yeah, he is back on circuit without actually stopping. So, that is not good for him. It definitely looks like he missed his pit box, Sam.
Yes, whether he's missed his pit box or he's not had his options ready. And wants to go around again to confirm it.
Sorry about that. We're riding on board with Ronnie Boehm as he slides it on through and the exit of the village complex, losing it off the rear of Cyril. Sorry about interrupting there. Just continue us talking about Mike McGear there.
Yes, so it does look like he's not made the stop, and he's now got the 174 of Magnus Sternby all over the back of him, so that BMW looking threatening there behind the Nissan.
Also, Nilsson is on the rear of Sevik Angus, and Sevik Angus has really been involved in quite a lot of battles, but yes, Sternby on the rear of Mike McGear heading into the Magazine Becker complex as well, in that battle for P number 8, then just up the road, that battle for P number 6 going on as well. So really, the top 10, they constantly want the positions, they're constantly fighting for it, and we're going to get fighting even harder now within the final half an hour. Magnus Sternby on the outside of Mike McGear, looking to get through as we head up towards Vale. Six back behind in slipstream, moves to the right hand side of the circuit to get on the inside of the Nissan. Can't quite do it at the moment. Sternby going to have to stay behind.
And let's see if he makes a pit stop this time. In fact, he's going in again, so did indeed miss his pit stop, it looks like.
Right. Hopefully he will be able to get it done this time. We're riding on board as he heads into the pit lane. See if he gets it stopped. Very wide entrance. Luckily, it looks like most of the stops are down at the far end of the pits, like most of the pit boxes. So you do have quite some time. But 1 minute, he's not pulled over. Here he goes. He's now going to pull over. That is quite far down the pit lane to miss it, though. To do a drive-through. Maybe he just had a drive-through, actually. He's out. He's out. Maybe some issues with his pitting. That very possibly could be the issue. Some issues with his pitting meant that he's not able to do something. I'm not too sure. But he is out.
Yeah. Maybe he's not got the assigned key to enter the pit confirmation, as we see the number 7 of Robert Severgengas with the number 38 of Matthias Nielsen all over the back of him. They've got a lap car of Stephen Gibb to contend with as well. But it looks like the Corvette all over the back of the Bentley is going to look to the inside. Not going to quite get it into cops. That would be a very brave move to make. And it looks like Nielsen obviously not threatened by that Bentley.
Yep, he's Nilsson is trying to get past, and obviously Nilsson was quite far up the order. I think he was in about 5th position before his pit stop when he came in. Obviously, he was leading the race when everyone else had done their pit stop, so he has got some laps led under his name, which is in itself a great feeling and a great boost for the rest of the season. Definitely at the opening round. But at the moment, he's about half a second behind that Bentley. The Bentley very heavy through the slow corners, and you could see that through the Luffield corner where he was able to get right up to the rear. Obviously, having Stephen Gibb right in front would have helped as well. But even through the chicane, you can see he gets really close to the rear end of Bentley, but a little bit of a wobble on the Corvette there, and then kind of come across the line here. And he is still behind at the moment, trying to look up to get into P number 6, past Robert Sevagangas. He's not had the best of races, but he's been able to hold on to a decent position.
Yes, that's very true. We've also got battle a little bit further down, the 174 of Magnus Sternby, with the McLaren all over the back of him. That's the number 11A of Brian Van Rooskum, together as well.
Yeah, there are Van Rooskum behind Sternbury indeed, and Van Boscommon actually, he was outside the top 10 at one point, wasn't he? He had a spin, the objective racing car. Before then he was able to run. Since his pit stop, he's been able to pull back up into the top 10, which is fantastic. But it looks like a number of people have actually been able to jump in the pit stop. A lot of people losing out in the stops as well. And I've always said that when it comes to pit stops in the racing races, it's the biggest thing that changes the race in race room. It can put you from last to first. It can put you from first to last.
Yes, it's a big factor within these races, and like no other, it's a system that I think a lot of drivers are mixed feelings about. I personally think it's a little bit too complicated. I think once you've confirmed it within the car before you go into the pit lane, you shouldn't have to reconfirm it. It's like the game's asking you, are you sure you want to make these changes?
Are you sure you actually want to do this pit stop whilst you're in here?
Yeah. Do you actually want to do it? Do you actually want your men to come out and change the tyres and stuff? Or do you want them to still sit here and...
They're having a beer. They don't want to do anything. Just leave them be.
Yeah. They're just sat on the chairs and just doing nothing, you know.
Nilsson. Nilsson tried to get up the inside of Sevagangas into the chicane. Couldn't quite do it. Having to sit behind at the moment, but he is looking really feisty in that Corvette behind the Bentley, heading up towards stand number 1. Looking to the inside. The DeWalt machine can't quite do anything past the Bentley Motorsport car at the moment. They're about 1/4 of a second between each other. Obviously, still got that battle behind as well between Sternbury and Van Boscommon. But here goes Nilsson up the inside. A little bit of a slide. Can't quite hold it. Might try a switch over out of the village complex. No, not a good run there. But will he be able to try anything up towards Brooklands?
Yes, I think at the end of the straight it's going to be his best option. He's looked close at a number of positions, but not quite close enough in the right position. And I think Sevagangas, one of the reasons he's been able to stay ahead is just because he can get off the corners better than a lot of other drivers. So very well driven for that Bentley. But I think with the additional pace that Nilsson showed before the pit stops, obviously he was higher up the order, and I believe also qualified higher. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, Joseph. You'd expect him to go through.
Yeah, I believe that Nilsson did beat Sevagangas, yes, in qualifying. I believe Nilsson was in second, wasn't he? Because he dropped straight away at the start. Nilsson in second, I believe. Sevagangas in 4th in that race. At the start of the race, I believe. Might have been the other way around, though. I'm not too sure.
But the Bentley looking to defend already down the straight. Will Nilsson get through? The Bentley's going to defend on the inside going into Stowe. Can Nilsson make a move around the outside similar to Davy van der Veen? You'd think the Corvette would be slightly more difficult. He's going to be able to hold it. Has he got the overlap though? That is the question.
It looks like he does.
Yes, he has, and indeed he is up the inside.
What an overtake, but
can the Bentley cross over? Double crossover perhaps with the Bentley?
Not quite, but it's close. He's still right there on the tail of the Corvette, so he still has a chance to get back past, and he still has 23 minutes to do that. Nilsson, I believe, had a later pit stops than Sevakangas anyway, so he's on slightly fresher tyres. But Sevakangas might be able to still attack back. We know that Bentley is slightly stronger than the Corvette.
Yes, and I'm just looking through the order, and where has Andres Mern gone? And he's pitted again.
Andres Mern has pitted again. He's in 11th position now. Sitting...
The two-stop strategy then.
Yeah, a two-stop, or maybe not wanting a two-stop, maybe... I'm not too sure why he has pitted again, why he pitted so early. Maybe he was expecting everyone to do a two-stop with such a long race. Or possibly, maybe he didn't fill up enough fuel following qualifying.
Possibly.
That may have been an issue. I believe what I was hearing from most drivers is you need 2 full tanks almost to get around this circuit. And if he had even filled up half a tank hoping for an undercut in the first place, that in itself would have immediately made it need a two-stop strategy. But Anders Mør, he was looking strong, looking competitive. The undercut worked, but it led to a double stop, which meant he's now outside the top 10, 2 seconds off of Boehm, who's inside that top 10 position.
Yes, and looking through your order, it's Campfield from Bogdan, and then in 3rd position is Davy van der Veen, so he's moved up from 4th position after the stops, after the slower pit stop from Anders Nielsen. Anderson is currently in 4th position, I believe, and then it's Nielsen, and then it is Sevagenga. 7th position is currently held by Magnus Sternbury. 8th position currently held by Brian van Booskum. 9th is currently held by Cyril Sauce, and 10th position is held by Ronnie Bohm, I believe.
Do you know what? I believe that the sign-up list was wrong, because it's actually Sauce Cyril, and I have written on the sign-up sheet, I've written on the spotter guide that it's Cyril Sauce, and I believe that is because it was written like that on the sign-up list, so I do apologise for that. That you've been reading his name wrong. It is in fact not Cyril Sauce, it is Sauce Cyril apparently. Might be Cyril Sauce, and he's just put it in... Well, he might have been putting it wrong in game.
I've been saying it wrong for the entirety of commentating, because in RDGTC 6, on Assetto Corsa, I think I've been saying it wrong as well, because it was already Cyril Sauce.
Maybe it is Cyril Sauce then, and just in game he's done it wrong this time, and it is... And he's accidentally put his names the wrong way round. I'm not too sure. Hopefully he'll be able to let us know. Because, right, that's confusing me now. Okay, because I've been calling him Cyril, not by his first name. I thought that was his second name, because I have all the live timing up so I can get all the overlay working. And then I've been reading it Cyril this entire time. Anyway, it's fine. It's okay. Davy van der Veen, though.
I've not currently got the live timing up.
I will give that to you at the end of this one, so you have it for next time.
Okay.
But yes, currently though we have 22 runners still in this race. Mike McGear was our latest retirement out of the session in 23rd. 22 though still running from 28 starters after an hour and 10 minutes. Less than 20 minutes to go in this race. Davy van der Veen is a massive surprise actually, but there is still a battle going on. Brian Van Booskum is behind Magnus Sternbury. That's the battle for P7.
Yes, very close indeed between the two of them. The McLaren looking all over the back of the Alpina, which gets sideways across the curves. Looking to the inside. No, I thought the McLaren was going to dive to the inside. A lot of curve for the BMW, but it seems to work, and he's certainly not lost any time to the McLaren as they come onto the start-finish straight once again.
Yep, it's about half a second between them, going along into turn number 1. Anders Meyer is also half a second behind Ronnie Boehm, heading into turn number 1. Not too far behind that battle, actually. That's going on for P7, but it's Mør looking to get into a top 10 past a fellow manufacturer. Actually, he's going to get into that top 10 because Cyril has run off the... Cyril Sauce has run off the circuit and is now down to P number 11. And Mør up to P number 10, now looking for P number 9 past the 96 machine.
Yes, and he's very close onto the straight. The M6 not as quick a run onto the Wellington Straight, but into Brooklands. Can he have a dive up the inside, or will he encourage the M6 slightly wide? There was a little gap there that Mur attempted to find. Can he keep it tighter through the right-hander? He's all over the rear of the fellow BMW, but not able to make the move at the moment.
Nope, he's going to have to remain behind. And I've just been talking to a few people in chat there about whether all drivers will need a two-stop. And again, that was just an undercut from us, trying to attempt another good strategy call. But no, 1 hour and 15 minutes is apparently the length that these cars can go. He pitted at about half an hour mark, so he must have not filled up on fuel. He must have just not filled up on fuel, which is why he had such a short pit stop, and why he had to pit again with about an hour and 15 minutes into the race, about an hour and 10, he had to dive into the pit lane.
It's very possible. I'm currently looking at the bottom for fifth position. The number 38 of Matthias Nielsen made a mistake through Maggots and Beckett on that lap, and he's allowed Severgengas to once again close up. So after having overtaken and pulled away a few seconds, he's made a slight mistake and is now in the clutches of Severgengas once again.
Oh, Severgengas off the circuit slightly, almost straight on into Nielsen. Luckily, no contact there, but the second down out of that battle. Anders Mur, once again, all over the wheel of Ronnie Boehm, though, out of the first couple of corners. He's looking to the outside. I can't quite do it. He's going to try switch back. Oh, it's going to be close. Into the village complex, and again, looking for the switch back. And it looks like he's going to be able to do it. Or will he? A little bit of a tank stapper from Ronnie Boehm just up ahead. The BMW on top of the BMW once more.
Yes, and he's close this time round, so I wouldn't be surprised if Mur makes a move. Then again, could Cyril Sauce make a move? He made a move like that earlier on in the race. They've all gone wide into the corner. Very difficult corner, that one in Brooklands, because it tightens on the way in as Ronnie Boehm goes slightly wide, and once again the pocket opens on the inside for Andreas Mern. Not quite able to do it once again, but these three line astern for another lap.
Yep, it is going to be these three still in line, and I don't think there's going to be much of a change in the next sector, of course. Big two wheels there by Anders Mur, though, as he gets on the inside of the apex. But yeah, you were saying, though, that Brooklands corner is very difficult. It tightens up at the, well, throughout. It gets tighter all the way through the corner, and how slow you're going in the entrance of the corner, you need to then continue to slow down, turn a little bit sharper through the corner, and it can really catch people out, especially if you're not too familiar with the circuit. And it caused all three of them trying to, obviously, the driver who's had the hardest line through there would have been Mur, because he's got to try and overtake as well as defending from Saucy behind.
Yes, and I think he saw Sauce try and make a move on the inside, and probably knowing he tried to make the move earlier in the race and succeeded, probably didn't want that to happen again, because from this position he wants to just move forward with the fresh tyres. He is all over the back of Ronnie Boehm once again. Can he get the run out of the right-hander, and if so, can he get to the inside for the first corner, and if not, can he carry the speed through the opening complex and down into farm and village?
He's got Cyril actually has dropped off a little bit, so this is going to ease the pressure up from in his overtake on Boehm if he's able to do it this lap.
Yes, it's very true, and if he wants to make a move once more into the Brooklands complex, he may be able to do it much better this time round.
So they head up towards the Brooklands complex, and it's still going to be Boehm ahead of Mur. It looks a little bit bigger, the gap, than it was last lap. It's about a second actually between them, but that is Boehm going too deep, and that's going to immediately allow Mur to catch up once more into left field. He sees the door opening on the inside, but this time doesn't actually go for it. Sticks right behind on the tail of Boehm, and is going to stay in P number 10. He's only got 14 more minutes to get past Boehm and get into P number 9 after a great start to this race. Well, great strategy call at the beginning, but it looked like because he didn't fill up on fuel, that's the only mistake he made. Otherwise, he would be in a really good position right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if he was higher than this before his first pit stop, and whether that was whether he's actually improved on position or dropped position, because he may have done in testing that this was the quicker strategy for the Z4. So possibly his other strategy, which was the one-stop, didn't quite work. Maybe his setup is hard on tyres and wanted to do the two-stop anyway.
Yes, as we continue around at the moment, 13 minutes to go then, that two-stop definitely not working out from probably not what he wanted. We also have a battle going on still once more from Van Buskomen and Magnus Sternbreed. We keep on going back to that one actually, but it's not been as intense as the 3-car battle for P number 9. However, it's still rather close until I say that, because we've watched Van Buskomen come off the circuit turn number 1. He's going to get back on though, lost a lot of time. And that could actually lead to a chance for Mur to get up to speed number 8. But currently, he's on the outside of Ronnie Boehm, trying to get the position. This is his first time he's gone on the outside. He goes into Village. He's going to be on the left-hand side now. On the inside, surely he's going to get the position. They still remain side by side, heading up towards Brooklands. He's got the inside line, though, heading up towards that corner. Slightly off the circuit goes Boehm, but he's still there. They're going to be side by side.
Yes, and the question is, does the M6 have the pace over the Z4? It looks to. He's gone wide. Boehm a little bit too deep into the corner. Can he stay on the inside of Mur? Mur's going to give him the spot on the inside. And it looks like, from this perspective, that Mur has completed the pass, but that M6 may have the pace to get alongside into Cops, and he moves to the inside, into the corner. He's going to be on the inside, and he's going to keep it on the inside, and they're going to run side by side through the corner. But Mur's going to have the wider line and the faster line to get through, and this is going to give Cyril Sauce a look through the inside coming into Maggots and Beckett's.
That was an amazing overtake, though. It took him over a sector to get through, but he was able to get that outside line, obviously, into the Village complex, and holding that throughout the entire the remainder of the first sector and through the next corners. I think it was definitely benefited from Ronnie Boehm running slightly wide into Brooklands, but now Boehm is under attack, and Sauce is up the inside. Bit of a slide from the Bentley, though. He's going to have to drop back, and he's going to lose quite a bit of time, which is going to ease the pressure off a little bit from Boehm. But we've still got 10 minutes left to go in this race, and these 3 cars are still in very close proximity to each other. We know Mur, though, is very fast. He might be able to pull away from this battle, but Boehm and Sauce might be close for the remainder of this race.
Yes, you'd expect the fresher tyres that Mur would escape from these 2 behind, and it was only a matter of time before he got through. But I think now the problem for Boehm is going to be the Bentley behind. Having said that, it does look like these 3 have lengthened out slightly. All 3 of them around a second and a half equidistant.
Yeah, they are having... Actually, Ronnie Boehm is only about a second behind Mur still. Sauce is about a second and a half. So actually the gap between Mur and Boehm is actually closer than between Boehm and Sauce, which is not what I was expecting, bearing in mind Mur. We've seen that he is the faster driver out of all these 3. Coming out of left field, though, an amazing exit, and it looks like his car, we've seen, though, that Z4, it isn't the fastest. It's actually probably one of the slowest on raw speed compared to all the other cars, and that meant Ronnie Boehm finally doesn't get the best of exits, but by the end of the straights, he's already been able to close up almost 2/10 every time.
Yes, it's very true, and you'd expect him to close up through out of Chapel down the Hanger Straight, but then again on the county you'd expect Mur to escape through Maggots and Beckett's, and it looks like he has done that. But now the M6 will be able to unleash its power, possibly get slightly closer, but I think Mur has got it covered for now.
It looks like he has. We've run the entire lap now on the rear wing of Anders Murs, and it doesn't look like any of the 3 are going to be attacked at the moment. But we still do have 8.5 minutes to go in this race. It keeps on closing up, really between 1.5 and 1 second between Mur and Boehm. But I don't think there is going to be a proper attack on Mur. As we've been saying, though, he is the faster driver. The only disadvantage I feel like he has on this circuit is that the car is not the fastest on straight line speed And when we come to Monza and Spa, that's really not going to help.
No, definitely not. The cars like the Camaro and the Bentley will be right at home there. In fact, I'd expect a really good fight between Campfield and the other Camaro of Bogdan there. I mean, how close they are here on pace. I mean, there's a few tenths between them. But then when we get to the straight line speed heaven of Monza, I should think that Camaro will be right in his own.
Yeah, I really think both the Chevrolets will be very dominant in those two races. But the next round is when the Z4 and the Audi, I think those two are the ones that are going to be able to maybe show something. Maybe even the McLaren getting involved in some more fights during the Nürburgring circuit. A lot more corners, not as many straights. You obviously have that one long straight heading up into the chicane, and then the straight upping up into the hairpin. But for the most part, it's a very winding circuit. There's lots of corners, and the BMW is going to feel at home there.
Yes, and I think this calendar has a nice mix of circuits with a mix, such as Silverstone here, and really nice start to the season with a mix of straights and corners of different various radii and lengths. And then when we get to the Nürburgring, slightly more corners in comparison to straights. Similar length of circuit, but more corners than straights. And then Monza, of course, a lot more straights than corners. And then the final, and then up to Spa, where really a mix, but there's a longer layout. So I think on the first half of the lap, then the Camaro and the Corvette and the Bentley will be dominant. And then in that middle sector is where the Z4, the McLaren, the Audi, maybe even the M6 and the Alpina will be at home.
Yes, yeah, like you said, there was a brilliant mix of the different circuits being run. Obviously, it's only a 4-round season, like we've said before. It's a lot shorter than previous GTC series that we've had seen, but that means that every race is just as important as the next. It's going to be every point matters, and you're going to want to get as higher up the order as you can. So that means it's a fantastic start for Campfield, for Bogdan, and an amazing start for Davy van der Veen. I mean, Davy van der Veen, he is a real surprise driver, actually, because he doesn't drive on the circuit very often. We don't see him racing in our club events very often. We don't see him racing in leagues anywhere near as often as some of our other drivers. But every time he gets on the circuit, he really does surprise us by putting in a stellar performance, and he's doing it once again today.
Yeah, it's very true. Usually a cameraman, and usually a very good cameraman and broadcaster. Obviously, Joseph has got that job today, but when he has been in a car, he's been very quick. In the stock car series, I forgot what the name of it was, that was run, the Australian stock car series with the stock car Brazil, he was very quick on there, constantly running in the top 5. And sometimes when these commentators do get into cars, we can be quick. You've obviously been in the GPC a few times yourself, Joseph, and I've been in a few club events. I'm yet to participate in a league. Maybe if the door opens at some point and I fancy it, then I may switch to the driving seat instead of the commentating seats. But for now, Davey doing a brilliant job in that rough.
Yeah, he is really young. And as you say, I think every time that one of us gets behind the wheel, it really surprises everyone. Because when I got behind the wheel in the GPC, of course, I didn't have the greatest of runs. But then Indianapolis, I was able to lead a few laps, which I think surprised everyone. It surprised myself, to be fair. And then, yeah, you can see a lot of the different commentators get down. A lot of the different staff members get down. And they really do show that they do have the skills that really they don't get to show very often. But Biscommon has just been able to get past at the inside of Marcus Sternbury in the battle for number 7. He's holding the inside line at the moment. It's going to be the Alpina on the outside of Sternbury. He's got to be able to get back through at the moment. The McLaren down, but he's on the inside coming up to Brooklands. Too far back though, and I think Sternbury went off the circuit there to defend that position.
Yes, he certainly was near the white line. Whether he was over the white line, I'm not too sure. I didn't quite see it, but depending on how long is left in this race, we may see Andreas Meur being able to get 2 more positions, because he's right on the back of that group.
Yeah, he's only a second behind, so he might be able to get up into P number 7, which is where he was after his first pit stop, actually. So he might be able to return to the position he was after his first stop, which would be fantastic, bearing in mind he has done 2 stops in this race compared to most people's 1 stop. I think everyone who's still racing has only done 1 stop in this race. Also, Mike McGear, I found out the reason he retired when he went into the pits is because every time he selected his pit options, it cancelled it. And pulling off the circuit, Magnus Turnbury suddenly disappearing off the circuit. Coming back on now, very dangerously across the circuit. But a big issue there, it's allowed Anders Merlo up into P number 8. And now he's only half a second behind Brian Van Bekommen. 1 more position and he'll be back to where he was before the pit stops.
Yes, the only question now is time. How long has he got left in order to get past the McLaren?
He has got 2.5 minutes. That's probably what, going to be about 2 laps for these drivers. Oh, actually, depending on where Campfield is, it very possibly could be 3.
As Campfield's currently heading round the Brooklands and Luffield section coming into Woodcut. So, dependent on whether he should be able to complete this lap and another. I should think he won't be able to complete another, so it may even be just this lap and the next lap.
Right, Mur is really starting to slide around in these cars, as if everyone. Tyres are definitely on the brink of being completely dead. I believe 2 minutes to go in this race, and Anders Mur, it depends if he did change. Obviously, he did that mandatory stop very early on in the race. When he came back into the pits, what we believe was for fuel, did he change his tyres? I don't think he did. I think he only filled up on fuel. I don't think his car went up on the jack.
No, and if that is the case, then his tyres are very old at this stage, and nearly an hour old in fact, so that's going to be very difficult to drive indeed. But he is coping very well, and he's on the back of Magnus Sternby.
No, Van Bekommen.
Sorry, Van Bekommen at the minute, so a little mistake by the McLaren could allow him through. In fact, he's closing invisibly. He's been closing every single corner.
Yes, he's closed up to half a second out of Luffield. He was about 8 to 9 tenths of a second behind, so it looks like it is going to be the final lap of the race, though. We've got 53 seconds left on the clock, and Adrian Campfield is only just heading through the village complex. So this is going to be the last lap. I don't believe it's an additional lap at the end, is it? It just ends when the timer runs out. So that means that, yes, this is the final lap of the race now. Adrian Campfield has led every single lap apart from when he went into the pit stops, of which Matthias Nilsson led a couple of laps. But Adrian Campfield has had an amazing race. So has Bogdan in his return to sim racing after being away from race department for so long. Mr. C is currently in 2nd position. Davy Van der Veen also in 3rd. See where they finish at the end of the race, though. Will they be able to hold on to those? I would assume so. 10 seconds left on the clock then as Campfield comes up to Stowe. And then up to the Maggots and Beckett's complex. The timer has now ticked to a close. This is officially the last lap of the race. There is no time left in the session. Magnus Turnbury into the pits at the very end for a splash and dash.
Yes, I'm not sure whether splash and dash or tyres as well, because he was struggling very much so coming out of Maggots and Beckett's and actually got overtaken by Cyril Sauce.
Well,
going on to the Hanger Straight.
That means that he actually only lost the position to Kuzmin in his pit stop, and now coming out means he could be able to get past Kuzmin if he did change tyres.
Yes, I didn't see the car go up on the jacks, but he was sliding around all over the place, but it looked like it's going to be Adrian Campfield coming into the final sector that is going to take this win.
Yep, Adrian Campfield, an amazing race indeed. The only British driver to do a strong drive here. The rest of the British drivers not doing our nation extremely proud, but they're still finishing the race, which is great. A few of them anyway are. But there you go, Adrian Campfield crosses the line to win. He must be really happy with that. A great start to the season. And Bogdan will come across the line in 2nd position, 5 seconds behind. We're going to have a quick look, though, at that battle between Mur and Van Bekommen, because Mur's going to go on the outside. This is his final chance. He's dropped off. It looks like he's going to try a switch back up towards the chicane.
Yeah, he's very close indeed. That Z4 all over the back of the McLaren. Can he make a dive down the inside? He's going to try it. Oh, the gap wasn't quite there. Little bit close, but he's going to get the cut back. Can he get the cut? Oh, he's sideways, but he's got the cut back. Can he hold it on the inside? The McLaren's going to be right around the outside. I'm not sure who took that.
No, it's not. It's going to be the Van Boskommen. Van Boskommen beats Anders Mer in a very, very close finish there. Almost photo finish between the two as they cross the line. But this man here, absolutely fantastic job. The number 46, Adrian Campfield from Mobile One Racing, started. We believe he started in what? I think it was fourth, didn't he? No, he started from first. Yeah, Adrian Campfield did qualify on pole, sorry. And he got an amazing start straight away. And he just led absolutely dominantly. We're going to get the race results up on screen any second now. And I'll be able to talk you through that, as well as looking at the gap that was between Van Boskommen and Anders Mer. In the end, it looks like we only had 6 retirements, 22 finishers following that race. Not bad after an hour and a half of racing. Something not many people can do in such a competitive environment.
Yes, very difficult, especially when you're battling a driver for the majority of the race. And just sustaining lap time on your own is very difficult. And when you've got another driver around you, it's even more difficult to stay concentrated, just because you've got so much effort going into the corners and braking points. So
yes. And with that then, I'm going to get the race results. Adrian Campfield on the top then, after 90 minutes and 56 seconds. Andrei Bogdan finished in second. Van der Veen getting your podium then, an amazing finish for him. Anderson in fourth, Nilsson in fifth. Severkankos finished in sixth. Van Boskommen finished in seventh with Mer behind. It was it was about a tenth of a second as they crossed the line. Boween finished in ninth, and Cyril rounding out your top 10. The rest of the field, I'm going to have to read really quickly, are Kisselman, Sternbury, Hengeveld, Christa Delulu, Magnus, Herx, Legale, Giuseppe, Garland, Cosson, Wilson, Gibb, McGear. Gibb was the final finisher. McGear, Fenwick, Harlow, Dunkley, Stacko, Wyatt, and also Fenwick were our DNFers. And I'm really glad I was able to get through that, because now we're about to jump across into the next session. So I was only just able to get through that in time. And that's what I absolutely love about this, is because you have almost no time to read the race results. But what a fantastic race to everyone. Adrian Campfield went on to win that, which was a fantastic start to the season, as we keep on saying. And really, that just shows how great this season is going to be.
Yeah, I think we're now set up for the rest of the round. Only 3 to go, which seems odd saying it, given we just had 1. But judging by this, I think we're going to have some interesting strategies going into the next round. Whether Mer will try the 2-stop again, or whether we'll revert to the 1-stop, is to be seen. But for the front view, very quick pace throughout the race, and very well done to them all.
Yes, really well done to everyone, of course. Be sure to hit that follow button on Twitch, by the way, and also that lovely new subscribe button. It's currently half price to subscribe to 2 channels on Twitch. Be sure to do that, as well as just if you've got Amazon Prime, you can also use that, and you can use your Amazon Prime on us and get our free subscription with us. Be sure also to head over to racedepartment.com and become a premium member. You can get involved in different leagues such as these, and also different club events. Leagues have now all started up. You won't be able to join them right now, but there'll be new ones starting at the beginning of 2018. Obviously, lots of club events happening daily, though, in a variety of different sims. Well done to all of our drivers out on the circuit. It's been an amazing race, and we will see you all in a couple of weeks' time, the 22nd of October, for round number 2, Nürburgring GP. I'll see you then.